All right, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of the Daryl Long channel, hosted by your boy Daryl Long. First of all, before I keep going, if you guys want to know, I am using my iPad M5, iPad Pro, 13-inch with the Apple Magic Keyboard. You feel me? All the links to all the products I use will be in the descriptions below. But know that I am also using the Rode Micro Go microphone. Okay, you see I got a pin right here. The transmitter is hooked up to the iPad. That's how you guys are getting this good audio right here. But now that I got into that, all right, everything will be in the description below if you want to buy these products for a discount. Cool. Now let's get to Lavar Ball. the news the news broke directly from LeVar Ball that his 30-year marriage, or nearly 30-year marriage, between him and his wife, or former wife, Tina Ball, was coming to an end. Now, he was on this content creator named Neon live stream where he openly discussed the separation, and confirmed that his wife had decided to move on. You feel me? LeVar, he looked at the camera. He was very calm. You feel me? He don't seem to be embarrassed, and he explained the situation with no dramatic flair, no explosive fallout, just a mutual respect, a mutual acceptance that these two were heading in different directions. Now Tina decided to go her own way. That's why you don't see her right here. That's what he said. That's what he said. Tina left. She hasn't been seen beside him for months. So he confirmed this because fans were beginning to speculate that they were not together no more. And for me, I'm never happy seeing somebody lose their wife, lose their relationship. I like the Boyd family. I still think of them as the Boyd family despite this whole situation. Now, LeVar, he's being criticized because he also allegedly he got a new chick. He said they saying he got some thick Latina. She was on the stream delivering him food, calling him Poppy. You know what I'm saying? So this relationship is crazy. If y'all used to watch the Facebook TV show they had, you would see when Tina, she ended up catching a stroke. And LeVar says this on Neon show. Let me quote. So even though she had the stroke and was getting older, she was always beautiful in my eyes. Right? I had I guess he said she had to go, right? And I think that's just it's so sad that because people are saying that LeVar accepted her when she had her stroke. She couldn't, do a lot of things as a wife, whatever, whatever. But the moment he lost his foot, she divorced him, and she went on to a man who can actually walk down the street with her, a man that she don't have to push around in a wheelchair. But LeVar Ball is saying there's no bitterness. He's accepted the reality of the situation, and he has moved on with someone new who works with him in his business and his space. Like I said, the young lady is reportedly a Latina, right? But this the crazy part. The men online, the manosphere, social media, relationship commentary spaces, like again, the manosphere, they are using talking points to talk about this whole situation, right? First of all, the main talking point should be that I thought that these white women was staying by their husbands no matter what. I thought these white women stayed by their black men no matter what. That's the first talking point that I think should be brought up. But let's take a conversation. The conversation that the men are talking about is one, the first conversation, loyalty versus reciprocity, right? This dominant narrative amongst male commentators focus heavily on the timeline of the couple's respective health crisis. So in 2017, Tina Ball suffered a massive stroke, right? She wasn't able to speak, and LeVar Ball heavily protected her. He stood by her side publicly and supported her through years of intense rehab. 2025, LeVar Ball, he goes through surgery, right? Because he's having health complications with diabetes, ultimately requiring the amputation of his right leg. The very next year, Tina files for divorce. So many men online are reacting with frustration, pointing out these different things as a double standard in a relationship. And as far as longevity and relationship and reciprocity and loyalty, they are basically saying that, he stayed when she lost her health, and she got the fuck on the moment he lost his leg. Right? They're using this to argue that a man's loyalty during a woman's vulnerable, like her most vulnerable moments, is rarely matched. And I disagree. I think that we need to know more about this situation before we start automatically saying that she left him because his foot was broken or his foot got amputated, right? We need to know more. Maybe she left him because she was cheating. He got a new chick real fast. He don't seem to care about the divorce being over with. I'm saying, and a relationship being over with. He don't give a fuck. The second thing the men in the manosphere is doing, they're praising LeVar Ball for having um, a certain level of stoicism, right? Because despite losing his wife, despite losing his leg, despite one of his sons not making it to the NBA, despite another man going to be with Tina, right? Despite a 30-year relationship ending, he seems to be cool, calm, and collected. And the men are saying the women wouldn't behave like this. When I've seen in many situations, look at Candy Burris. I've seen so many situations. Look at Melanie Cherie. When the relationship ends, the women are the ones being cool. And if you don't believe me, do some research about black female, black woman femicide, right? And then you would figure out who is harming who. You feel me? Now, the last thing that the men in the manosphere is talking about is there are no safe bets. Because for a long time, LeVar Ball was championed by many men in the manosphere as a family-oriented content creator blueprint, right? Got a white woman, all three sons, tightly knit basketball, focus on the family legacy. White wife is helping them succeed. Woo, woo, woo. But now what can they say? Now they can't talk about Will and Jada because they still married. They can't talk about Sierra and Russell Wilson, they still married. They was championing, LeVar Ball and saying that because he got a white woman, all three of his sons graduated, all three of his sons playing in the NBA, successful, making millions. But they not talking about the fact that this woman was never loyal to LeVar, right? And that many of y'all relationships, like LeVar Ball, like Sharon Moore of the University of Michigan, right? A lot of y'all, Shannon Sharp, a lot of y'all lose money and relationships dealing with the pink skins. That's just the facts. That's just no racist shit. That's just facts. Shannon Sharp lost his career earnings and 100 million to a 25-year-old who we all know was capping. But listen, man, y'all keep talking shit about the black woman, trying to make it seem like she's the problem when y'all losing y'all money and y'all marriages to non-black women. Listen, I'm about to go to the barbershop. I'll see y'all later, man. Peace.